Get your free property appraisal here. Well, guess what? There's no such thing as a free appraisal. I'll tell you why in a sec. I'm Paul Sumich. This is Spilling the Beans, where I say the quiet parts of real estate out loud. Let's get to it. So, property appraisals. Why are they free, and are they really free? First off, I'd say no, they're not free at all. They actually cost your most valuable asset, which is your time. So it is obviously time for the agent to prepare the documentation and get it to you. Even the online ones take a little bit of time, but the actual cost is your time. And you get people to get into your home, which is a tactic of the free appraisal, I guess. But look, there's nothing wrong with having them prepared and getting them done. It's a big step on the way to getting your house on the market and getting ready for sale. But don't get suckered into the fact that they're free, because they're not. Your time is by far the most valuable thing that all of us have got, and you don't want to waste it listening to some drivel that might not make sense to you, or you've just had someone come in and tell you an inflated price that makes you happy and that you want to hear, but it might not be where the market is for your property. So you just have to be careful around that. You know, are you getting all excited because they've told you a massive number? If that was the case, let's just say your house is worth $50 million and list with me because I've told you the biggest price, right? So yeah, look, just be careful around that. But yeah, the appraisal, property proposal, here's how we do it, right? So yeah, we definitely want to talk to people that are interested in discussing their plans and seeing how we can help. But that's the first thing. If we can't help you, we're not going to try and tell you this massive price and all of these other tricks and tactics to get you on the market, and then in 3 or 4 weeks' time, you're just disappointed. But the person you spoke with knew all along that your house wasn't worth what they told you it was at the start. But anyway, yeah, look, so we'll prepare a proposal for you. I'd much rather call it a proposal than an appraisal, because a proposal can change, right? So we'll prepare the information, and we all use similar data that's available to us as agents and salespeople. So we look at what's currently on the market, comparable to your property. So that is bedrooms, amount of bedrooms, square meters, size of the property, size of the land, if it's a cross lease or freehold title. If it's rural, then what services are on your property compared to the other properties and things like that. So as close as we can, but bearing in mind that there are no two properties the same. So every property is truly unique, but buyers will be using the same data that everybody else has got to allow them to make a decision on what they think it's worth. So comparable properties that are currently on the market, and then a similar thing, comparable properties that have recently sold. So, and there's, even with that, if we all had the same information, there's individual styles and ways that people use the info. So I like to use stuff no older than 3 months, because we want to have the most recent information available. There's not much point talking about a property that sold 18 months ago. The market was very different then, and even it's going to be different if you're discussing with someone at the moment your appraisal or proposal. Even one sale can make a difference. So it can take a buyer out of the market, or it can add buyers, because those sellers might be the people that are looking at your property when it comes on. So generally speaking, you have an appraisal proposal done, and the fastest with legal documentation and things like that is, and photos as well if needed, is probably a week. But you're generally speaking a couple of weeks out from getting on the market, from if you're red hot ready to go as a seller and you've made your mind up. So from the time of the proposal to being on the market is a couple of weeks, and then another week after that for your first open home. So even 3 weeks from the time you had your proposal done to when you're actually live on the market, things can change a bit. So look, it's a moving target, because the market is always changing. There's always buyers and sellers coming in and out of the market, and that can have a big impact on your property. It can either really help or hinder. So just be mindful. That's why I like to call it a proposal and not an appraisal, because a proposal can be changed. And it's a discussion piece that we have with you because we're working together. It's not us against you, it's us getting you to market with the best information we've got, allowing you to make really good decisions. So what else should it cover? We've talked about your property in particular, the specifics around that, and we talk about the properties that have just recently sold to give us an idea of what's happened there. We talk about properties that are on the market that are deemed to be comparable or very close to yours. And then we've got the CV and other things like that, which we try not to put too much stock in, but look, from a buyer's point of view, unless your property's priced, everybody wants a baseline. They want an anchor point to start from. So like it or not, CVs do come into it because everyone's an expert, especially our clued up buyers. So they will say, oh, nothing's selling under CV at the moment, or everything's selling around CV and this and that. But it's a case by case basis. There's properties that sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars above CV. There's properties that sell under CV in the same street. So what makes the difference? It's your property and the individual attributes of your property, and also the skill set of the agent you engage with to get your property on the market and ultimately sold. So the other things that will be covered off in your proposal are the timeline it's going to take, any improvements in the house that you have talked about making or you're going to make, and you may have made, because another thing that people get caught up on as well is the online price estimates. But I haven't seen many of the property portals come through a home, well, definitely haven't come through mine, so they don't know that we've renovated the kitchen recently, upgraded the bathrooms, put a new deck on, and it might be the same situation for you as well. So we discuss that sort of area as well, just so we've got an eye on what buyers will see when your property is on the market, because there are estimated sales ranges for most properties when they come online. So yeah, we cover off that. We cover off your timeline. So are you ready to go right now, next week? I'm moving to Aussie, I need to be on the market. Or are you thinking about coming up in the springtime or the summertime, or at the end of the school year, because you're going to have all your kids will have gone home, so that's a big change as well. So we cover off all of that part of it because it has to work for you in your life. So we work to your schedule, not the other way around. So be mindful of that also. We cover off your expected or likely sales range, but same thing with it being a proposal. And we've covered it in another video in the past. There's 3 price points. So there's your price, there's the agent's price, and then there's really the only one that matters, which is the buyer's price. So we cover it off because you need to have an idea based on the comparable properties and where the market's heading, what we think is going to be the likely range, and then we just find people that agree with us or not, which are the buyers. And in terms of that, we'll also cover off a marketing campaign and a method of sale in the proposal as well, because everything needs to be set up from the start, and you're happy with a plan of attack, and you're happy with a process that we'll deliver for you, and all of that's discussed in the proposal up front. So the main key things are your situation, your plan, your timeline, the marketing, the method of sale, any projects you've got on the go, and also most people will cover off their fee for service, which is based around a sale price most of the time. So that's kind of the gist of it all, really. So look, it's good to see, the classic ads that are out all the time. What's your home worth? Honestly, nobody knows unless that's an actual buyer placing those ads. It's all designed to get you into one of those free appraisals. But remember, your time is extremely valuable. There's no such thing as free. If you want to talk about a proposal with a really great process and a plan in place, then give us a call. Otherwise, have fun with those free appraisals. Cheers, you guys.